What up, headbangers? How you doing? I'm Rob O'Day, and welcome to the Greasiest of all time. Today we are chilling with Puno out of Ecuador. How you doing?
Hey guys, thank you for the invitation. My name is Vladimir. I'm the guitarist of Puno. We are an Ecuadorian metal band. We are active like since 2008 and now we're promoting our new material. So, thanks for having me today.
No worries. Thanks for coming on. Tell me about how you guys got together and how you started.
I'm the most recent addition to the band actually because I joined the band 3 years ago, and the lineup since then changed pretty much because the previous vocalist left the band as well, and our previous back vocalist uh, started began to be the main vocals, and it changed everything in the band. But initially, it was just a socially focused youth band. It
Mm-hmm.
started like this.
That's cool. And you guys are about to release some music, you said,
Yeah, we're releasing. We try to release constantly
and that
this
comes
year.
out. When is that? What date does that come out?
We expect our new lyric video to be released on May 1st.
Cool. So not too far away then. That's
Yeah, not
perfect.
too far away. It's a brand new song, and with its lyric video, it will be released simultaneously on all the platforms.
That's awesome. That's I find that's the way to do it nowadays. Is a single. You kind of get everything set up at once. You know what I mean? Your music video, your single, your
Yeah,
merchandise that
sure.
goes with it, kind of a thing. And
Yeah, sure. It's like one campaign for one song. You can
yeah, for sure.
tell.
How's the
Mhm.
music scene in South America? Like, I've never actually got. You're the first band that I've got to interview from anywhere down there, so I'm curious as to how the music
Oh.
scene is.
Well, it depends pretty much on the country because, for example, Ecuador is a pretty small country,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and the scene, well, everywhere in the world, a scene is like a minority of the people who like extreme music and gathering around with friends to listen to some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And here, being a small country, the minority is very minor, if you know what I mean. It's
Yeah.
very, very small. So, for example, in Ecuador, it's pretty tough because there is no good structure for concerts or good venues. It's kind of tough, but however, there are a lot of excellent bands here
Mm-hmm.
moving along, making new material
Yeah, and that's a
and
cool
stuff.
thing to see because, like, I think I can kind of relate with BC is the smallest of all the provinces in Canada. Like, the smallest, well, not like the territories and above, but like of the provinces, I'm pretty sure BC has the smallest population. I think we have like 6 million throughout the whole province. And it takes like an hour to 2 hours to drive to any other city, and
Okay.
there's really no venues for metal, so it's kind of like I
Yeah.
see that a lot that happens worldwide. Like there's a lot of that happening nowadays where there's
Yeah.
a lack of venue support, but there's
Well,
also major
yeah,
support
keeping
in.
keeping in mind. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say because of the pandemic year that we are all facing, it became even harder to have physical presence. Like to be able to make a concert, like to share with people. Now it's pretty much everything online.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a weird concept because bands, like I always talk about it, it's weird going from being a performer to being a business owner, marketer, entertainer. You know what I mean? So, like, we're so used to just like packing our shit up and going and performing. But in reality, now we have to do so much more as artists that we didn't
Yeah.
have to do before because we could just outsource. But I think that independence is really key for our creativity.
Yeah, sure it is. Everyone like it is a problem if you want to make it a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Just that's
Like
how I look at COVID too. You know what I mean? Like, realistically, it's
yeah,
been, for bands, it's been a terrible curse because we're not performing
yeah,
and we're not really gaining fans that way. But we get different opportunities that we never would have thought of before. You know what I mean? Like podcasts and doing interviews, and like I heard one band they did a bake off with one of their fans. You know, like they made pie and they're terrible at baking. So like that's the kind of stuff that I find funny, and like that's what bands are doing to
Sure.
engage. You know what I mean? So even even us, we wanted to be more engaging with Enigma, so we want to go live, and we're gonna start doing interviews live as well, so that it's the fans can get to know the bands. So like they want to ask you something, they can ask, because I
Sure.
think that
Sure.
that's a key thing is that
It's an awesome
interaction.
concept. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's an awesome concept for the new excuse me, for the new times, new era, as you might say, of digitalization.
Yeah.
That kind of interaction is pretty cool. Even when you release a video clip, for example, you schedule the premiere on YouTube and stuff, and it's almost it's like a concert because you get a chance to interact with people that follow your band, and they are watching the video and they are reacting live to your new material and stuff, and it's the possibility of making it a two-way interaction makes it awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's like that's what the funnest part of performing is after
Yeah,
you're done performing and you go out in the crowd and you mingle and you talk to people and you
yeah,
hand out stickers and stuff. Like those are the connections that really matter as an artist. It's not the
yeah.
I don't know, it's not the popularity that you gain, but it's the connections you gain and the people you
Yeah,
meet.
yeah, totally. The connection is everything. When you feel connected to the crowd, it's just a magical feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like my favorite feeling is I actually met one of my best friends this way. As he was I was performing and we were covering a song and he was like so into it and singing, and like I would just put the mic to his mouth and he started singing the lyrics, and like that connection made us friends for and it's
Yeah,
been like almost 20 years now. So like it's a weird thing that simple little things like that are so fundamental to what makes a band loved. It's how much they
yeah,
interact with their fans
yeah, totally.
and give back too. You can't just expect everything from the fan, like them to buy your merch, them to buy your songs, them to go to your shows if you're not going to be willing to give back to them.
Yes, of course. It's like the laws of any business.
Hmm.
You can choose where in which store to buy, but if the other factors are equal, it's more probable that you will go to buy to the store that treats you better.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's the thing is, it comes down to a customer service. Like we are
Yeah,
giving them a
exactly.
service and we are entertainers, and I find there's a lot of people who just expect from fans to like go like their page without giving anything back. And for me, you kind
Yeah,
of gotta like it's give and take. You gotta give a lot more than you gotta take, though. That's how I feel as a
yeah, sure,
musician. Like you gotta give
sure.
so much time and dedication, but that
Yeah,
one moment when you hear your crowd singing your lyrics, or like moshing at the moment when you got like this epic drop and it just like everyone stops and drops into it and starts jumping, like that
yeah,
is what makes it worth it in the long run. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like I shared a post a couple days, like a week or two ago, and it was like a picture of a dude standing on a stage in front of like thousands of people. And since I was like 9, that's been my biggest dream, is to just stand on stage
yeah,
and have that connection. Not even just to be on stage, just that connection with thousands of people. I think that would be
yeah,
like the most overwhelming feeling.
yeah. It's well, I have never seen a crowd that big in
Yeah.
front of me, but even smaller crowds, even the smallest crowds, when the energy is right, shit, it's another level, man.
Yeah, no, it's a total it's euphoric. Like it's a high. You're
Yeah,
almost just like cloud 9. You never want to come down. And I think that that's what pushes us to be so dedicated. Like I know bands that are quite literally homeless. They live in their van and they tour around.
yep.
That's their
There are
lifestyle.
cases,
So it's kind of
of
cool.
course.
How have you guys gone about dealing with COVID and your recording?
Well, actually, we made it as most profitable as we could because before COVID, exactly at the end of the year 2019, we went on tour to Argentina.
Oh, sweet.
On our return, we already had planned to hit the studio and record a couple of songs we already had produced and all demoed and stuff. Well, almost ready. We just had to hit the studio. And then the pandemic struck the world, and we had to stay home like for a couple of months because the lockdown was pretty hard.
Yeah.
But as soon as we were allowed to get out of our houses, like for a couple of hours, we started to get together and we started to record the songs we had pending. We started to produce, mix, master, plan to make the videos, the release strategy. We started talking to Eric, for example, and that was our way to go. That's
Yeah.
how we keep going.
It's cool to see that connection, with like Eric being in Canada and you guys being down in Ecuador. Like that's a fucking cool connection. Like Eric, you're like stretching your arms out there, bro. I love it. It's so good. Because I mean, all the bands that Eric's brought to me, I love. Like they're genuine people. They're so talented, and it's good to see that they're getting the exposure that's deserved. Because I find,
I don't know what happened. I lost connection.
oh, you're back. We
I've been
see
kicked out, and I need
you. No, but
to
it's cool
reconnect.
because
There's a bit of delay, I think.
I think that what they're doing with everything is really it's I said it with another band, and I think it was Hounds, and we were talking about what Gabe and Eric are doing and how they have the foundation for what the future is. Like any record label that's a major record label is going to have to follow what they're doing because that's just the way to do it. You know what I mean? Like they're dedicated to their bands, they're dedicated to the art, and they're not in it for money. They're in it for the passion. And I think that's exactly what record labels and managers need to be. So I find it really motivating to see them work and what they do and how fast they work. Because, like, the amount of bands that they're just gathering and how talented they are, like,
Yeah.
that's, it's going to be a cool thing to see in the next 6 months when other labels are filling up with underground artists, you know what I mean? And we take over the music scene versus the major record labels, us chasing them. We just create a whole
Yeah,
new scene.
sure. Nowadays, I think my personal opinion, major record labels don't have that many things to offer.
No,
Like,
and yeah.
not real strategic advantage in being in a major label.
No, and
I
for me, as
don't.
I'm more dedicated, I've always been wanted to be with something that was more dedicated. Like something that I felt as a family. Because for me, if it's a just business structure, like it doesn't, it's not inviting. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why,
Yes, it takes all of the fun of the process.
yeah. Like the first time I saw a 360 contract when I was doing hip hop, I looked at it and I looked at it and I was signing the paperwork and I walked out of the room, because in the last moment I was like, I'm not willing to sign away my creativity as an artist. Like, and that's what
Yeah,
it comes down to, and that's what they con these major artists into, and it's sad because, like, I was talking to a band out of Finland, and major artists there are selling their equipment because they can't afford rent,
yeah, yeah.
and
That's pretty tough.
yeah, that's
That's
sad.
pretty.
Like that's like some of our bands that we look up to are basically going bankrupt, and I know that that's gonna
Yeah.
happen due to COVID, but I'm curious to see if they can make it out of it or if it's gonna be a downfall for that
Well,
entire industry.
yeah, sure. Well, I'm seeing now bands like not AAA bands like Metallica or Rammstein, but like
Mm-hmm.
mid tier bands. They are dedicating a lot to making alternative merchandise. Like for example, they stray away from the classical hoodies or snapbacks and stuff, and they start making craft beer,
Yep.
coffee. Yeah, that stuff I really like when they do it. It's like um, they are taking it on a bit another level in order to support the basic level, which is the band and its music.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people look at that as selling out, but realistically, that's not. That's building a proper brand.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
people are
I
willing
agree.
to, you're a musician, like Cynical Sons, for example. They're a wicked band, but their
Hmm.
coffee sells so much because it's a good product. It has nothing to do with music. but it's the
Exactly.
dedication and the fact that if you do reach out and you do these other things, it's yeah, you have to. That's marketing, like that's becoming a brand,
Yeah,
becoming a business.
it helps the band. It helps the band.
Yeah.
If you do it right, it's a great support for the band.
Oh, 100%. And I think all bands should be thinking that way. Like I think they should be thinking social media is our venue. We can go talk to our fans. Let's go hang out with
Hmm.
them after we performed, kind of a thing. And I really think that they need to focus on proper branding, researching, and understanding how to make their product wanted.
Appealing, first of
Yeah,
all.
and it's all about making somebody
Yeah,
feel a part of something.
It's a brand now.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, and that's the downfall too. Major record labels, they will only look at a band if they're 150,000 likes and created their entire product. So they buy a built product
Yeah,
already, and then they
sure.
just run it into the
Yeah,
ground. And
yeah,
like that to me is not the way it should be, because you look at any other art industry and they don't do that with tattoo artists, they don't do that
of
with
course.
graphic designers. So I mean, it took a lot of pushing for tattoos to even be accepted in culture, you know what I mean? But now you look around and we got nurses, cops, firefighters, like we got astronauts that have tattoos. So like
Sure.
realistically, the metal industry, it just needs to stay patient, work its ass off. All us bands needs to just like keep pushing. If something gets in the way, figure out how to get over that hurdle. And
Yeah,
I think that
that's
that's
right.
what will make us the ones that are performing in 5 years in major festivals.
Yeah, sure. I always had the notion that all this musical journey that we have one way or another is never a speed race. It's always a resistance race.
Yeah,
So it's not about going fast. It's about going steady and constantly.
yeah. And I find that though
So
bands, you see the bands that are doing that.
patience.
Yeah,
Hmm.
patience. And I think that that's like the one thing bands don't realize is like it takes so long to get picked up. It's not like
Hmm.
it's not like, we signed because it was like quick and easy. Like we've been doing this for 20 years and failed with
Yeah,
16 bands. Like how many times have we lost friends, lost money, investments? And it's the people who stay dedicated to that, and just like
yeah,
grind. They usually make it
yeah.
through.
That's it. Reminding. Yep.
Like, could you imagine if Metallica would have just like not, if they would have taken one like crappy show or the loss of Cliff Burton and just like let it attack them and never work anymore? Like,
Yeah. It's,
you got to move
they
forward.
were Yeah, of course, I totally agree with that.
And then it's cool to hear stories from all over the world and how the scenes are, because I find it globally it's the same thing, from Hungary
Yeah,
to South America. Like every scene has been impacted the exact same way, but even before COVID, they all had the same problems.
yeah,
So the more I
the
talk,
struggle.
yeah, well, it's just the struggle. It's the battle between bands and venues. The battle be
Oof,
right,
yeah,
like the battle between bands and bands, and the
yeah,
battle between bands and fans. Because like venues aren't willing to give you anything other than door, and
yep,
that's bullshit to me. Because like I've how many times I've driven 3 4 hours just to show up and get paid $20. You know what I mean? Like I had a great show, but like morally, that's not really
yeah.
cool. So, and then you have
But
bands.
you could have your coffee sales support that and warm your heart a little bit in that case.
Exactly, and that's where being a brand is a smart thing to do. You know what I mean? Like branch out as much as you can and do whatever you
Yep,
can. If it doesn't work, whatever, try something else.
sure.
I find.
Just
Oh, go ahead.
yeah,
No, I was just gonna say I find that the bands versus bands is a really big problem worldwide.
yeah.
Where you,
I thought it was only a local thing, but now as like you say it, it's wow. I'm a bit surprised, but okay.
yeah, no, the fact that there used to be like a support where bands used to be in the mosh pit with other, like during a set.
Yeah,
They don't do that
yeah,
no more.
right.
They'll stand outside their venue and like they'll take their whole friend group and take them outside instead of being there to support the bands.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
that that's
That
that right there is what I think killed our scene globally. Like our global metal scene kind of died because bands stopped working together.
Yep.
But you can't book a show by yourself, especially if no one knows who you are.
Of
So,
course. Yeah.
you know,
That's how I heard in United States. Tours usually work. They like three or four bands organize a tour.
mm-hmm,
Among them, they rent one bus for the four bands, like to bring down the costs a little bit. Same venue. They sell merch at the same table. Like share the expenses,
mm-hmm.
share the earnings.
Yeah, and I mean, that's how it should be because realistically, if one, so like local bands, I hate when local bands do that. You know what I mean? Like, I understand if it's a touring band and you don't know each other to be a little bit like
Hmm.
hesitant to go and like jump in and
Yeah.
be friends with them all of a sudden because like
Yeah. Yeah.
it takes time to build that friendship,
Sure.
right? So, but local bands, if you've played with each other for like 10 shows and you still don't support the other band, that's not cool.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's
No.
not cool at all because you
Yeah.
can't make it alone. If one person from a scene gets picked up, that scene gets put on the spot and everyone's looking
Hmm.
at it then. You know what I mean? Like, you look
Yeah.
at BC, Spirit Box got picked up, and now there's a ton of bands out of BC being picked up by different record labels. Like, it's just how it works. So if bands work together and realize like if one makes it, we all make it.
Yeah,
Because
sure. The victory is common, and people
yeah,
don't understand that.
yeah, no, like that total that sportsman competition aspect in music is totally needs to just go away because it's not how it
Yeah,
is. We're not sports people, you know. That's why we became
it's
musicians.
needless. It's worthless. It's useless.
Yeah,
Just why waste your energy on such thing where when you could just make music and have a good time and be friends with anybody.
yeah, and I think that it be COVID has led to bands reaching out to each other now. I find that there's a lot more bands, BC at least where we are, that are reaching out, and then throughout Canada, like meeting a lot of the bands that are Canadian bands. Now we can go across and perform and hang out with friends. It's not like we have to have a hard time to book. You know, like networking is a key thing as a musician because how are you supposed to go to a different country or a different province or a different state if you're not networking? No one's gonna know you
Sure,
there. Just because you're on Spotify doesn't mean they're listening to you. You know what
of
I mean? Like
course,
you
of course.
physically have to meet people, make friends. That's how you get a street team, and that's how a street team will go out and put flyers for you ahead of time. Like it's about networking and being a genuine person.
Sure. Sure. That's how we got with Puno to Argentina. Actually, was totally networking because our drummer has a lot of friends of other bands of Buenos Aires local scene.
Right?
So they invited us for the anniversary of their crew, and we said, sure, let's go.
Yeah, and I mean that's. I bet you had so much fun. You know what I mean? Like it's like family
Oh
at that
man,
point,
you have no idea. It was awesome.
right? And I mean that's like how I feel when I get to do that. Like I'm excited for when our guitar player comes back from England, so we can go to
Mhm.
Eastern Canada and go do a show with like Cynical Sons, and we can do a show with Eve of Uprise, and like all the bands from Eastern Canada and all the way across that I've met would be fun. But like that's also where we're trying to um, build this festival slowly that we're working on. Is because
Yeah,
all the bands that we've interviewed, I would like to at least get as many of them as I could to this festival because I think that would be the coolest thing. Like, figure out how much it costs for flights. You know what I mean? And like, we'll take care of gear on this side, so it doesn't cost a lot for bands to come across. But if there's specific gear they need, then they'll have to pay for that kind of a thing. But like in the long run, that's the goal because I think that putting
sure.
on our own festivals and networking with
Would be
bands is
awesome.
how we're gonna do it. You know, like it's the only way to do it successfully nowadays because there is no support from governments. There's no support from major
Yeah,
labels,
you can never trust the government. It's
right?
not the way to look. Yeah,
Not for artists, at
one has
least.
to act on the shoulder. Yeah,
No, not for sure. And I think that there's a change. I think there's a global change, and I think that it just takes a few people to make noise, and then the revolution starts. You know what I mean? Basically, because
yeah. It's on the way. It's definitely on the way.
yeah, and I mean the more people that hear how much we get paid from Spotify and how much it costs to book a month long tour as an emerging band, you know, like without
Yeah,
paying $50,000 out of your pocket is not easy to be able to book
Yeah.
hotel rooms, gas, venues, all that. Like, that's the
Yeah.
shit we put ourselves through for our passion. I don't know anybody else more dedicated than musicians.
No, but it's man, it's just insane. I sometimes I just stop to think what we are doing and what do we do it for, and man, it makes no sense, and still we're doing it.
The hardest part
Why?
is trying to explain
Almost.
that to somebody. Like, why do you write
Yeah,
music? It's
exactly.
like,
Because logically, it makes no sense at all what we're doing, and
it,
still, it's the greatest
we're
time ever.
crazy. Yeah, and that's what I mean. We're just crazy. We're a unique breed. I always say that because musicians, like, I don't know who else would do that or put themselves through what we do.
Yeah,
And
totally,
then,
man. It's
yeah, if there was anything in the music industry that you would change, what do you think it would be?
what would I change? Well, I don't like looking at the past, but the 90s years of the record stores and physical CDs,
Mm-hmm.
it's just makes me so nostalgic, man.
Yeah.
But I know that those times are not coming back.
Mm.
But
I mean, bell-bottom
nowadays,
jeans are back, so hopefully,
oh yeah, right,
hopefully
right.
CDs come back. Because I know vinyls come back like a motherfucker. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
vinyls are definitely coming back. Yeah, but the production cost of vinyls, it's pretty crazy as well.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, but I would like, and I think it's a very general complaint, but I would like people to listen better music than they are listening today. It doesn't matter what do you listen today, what genre it is, what song it is.
Just better.
I mean the intention of searching for something better or something new. It's like it drives you on an unknown and crazy road as well, and you discover such an amazing musicians. It's pretty rad.
Yeah, no, like, I always try to relate music to food because some people can't really understand it. But, like, what
Hmm.
the radio gives you is McDonald's. Like, there's no
Yeah,
sustenance
exactly.
to it. Like, there's no vitamins. There's no nothing. It's just, okay, I'll put it in me. It goes out.
Yeah,
In one ear, out the
it's
other.
fun from time to time, but no real value there.
Yeah, but then if you look at how many different cuisines there are, you know what I mean? And different
Exactly.
delicious tastes there are from different cuisines. And
Yeah,
that's music. Like, you can either
yeah,
put yourself
exactly.
through McDonald's and fast food, or you could genuinely go look through different restaurants, which are different bands,
Yeah,
different genres.
yeah,
So I think people, I just don't think people know where to do it. Like, I know they have Spotify. It's just Spotify gives you those automatic plays, and then all of a sudden it creates this
yeah.
playlist for you. But like the actual going out and finding a new bands,
Hmm.
that doesn't happen. That's why I wish there was like something that did more battle of the bands, because like that was the coolest concept about the '90s was that like all the battle of the bands that you would have. You know what I mean? Like you have 10 bands, and then there's 5 bands or like 4 bands, and then like it goes up, and then you finally have your winner. And I think that's the coolest thing. And like that person, you just gain fans. It works. I think that that's what people and companies and
Yeah,
the industry needs more
I,
of.
I'm not exactly a fan of Battle of the Bands, but I acknowledge that it's a very effective way to bring some fan base to a starting band. It's a very good method.
Yeah, and more just like even if it was an online one, you know what I mean? Because it gets your fans engaged. Like go vote for us, and then they hear the other band. They're forced to listen to the band you're against because they can't just vote for you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, sure,
and I think
sure.
that that kind of giving them that taste into a new band
Hmm.
is exactly what people need. But I think it's people our age are harder to please. You know what I mean? Like I think
I don't think it's about being harder to please. Well, you're right. There is a part of it, but it like a battle of the band nowadays sounds like pretty long video, we might say,
mm-hmm.
and people get bored of watching these nowadays. They just don't like to watch anything longer than a couple of minutes. If it's a full song, it's a good thing,
No.
but generally people don't have that attention span anymore.
Yeah, no, we're lucky to keep people's attention span for like on YouTube and our lives
Yeah,
for like 15 minutes. And that's good.
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like if you can get at least 15 minutes out of somebody in a busy day with no attention span,
yeah.
hell yeah, it's a
15
victory.
minutes.
So,
Yeah, totally.
but yeah, that is definitely the attention span of now. Like the generation now is definitely the biggest problem for music because you have to make a video to capture people's attention. Because like
Yeah,
if you genuinely watch people and how they swipe and watch they sit on their phones, they don't stop for
mhm,
pictures. They don't stop for posts. It's videos.
yeah,
That is the only way to stop people, other than like
yeah,
smacking them upside the head. You know what I mean? Like it is almost impossible nowadays to do it. So I think that um, it's social media has created this weird. That's what I mean. The distance. You know what I mean? Like it's a popularity contest for bands, and it's grown. Bands used to be able to connect with their fans, like when we had MySpace and when Facebook first started out, when you could actually engage with them to the point where they wanted to buy your stuff. But
hmm,
now it's almost impossible to get them to. You know what I mean? Because everything's given to them for free from a different band that's
yeah,
famous. But like, I don't think they realize that there's so many good bands out there that are just like you just like I don't know. It's like the ocean. You know how much life is in the
yeah.
ocean, and it's like if you listen to the industry, like the mainstream industry, it's like the garbage that's just floating around in the ocean, and we just kind of
Yeah,
like
and
we
it
got to clean
doesn't
it up.
doesn't change. It doesn't change a bit through the years. Like
No.
some drum beats, some grooves may change, but the concept of the radio song is still the same. You're
Yeah.
listening the same for 40 plus years.
Yeah. And I think that's I don't know. I always find it as like a form of brainwashing almost. You know what I mean? Like they found the secret tempo that people will move to,
Yeah,
and that's kind of
yeah.
what does it. So it's a weird world we live in, but like I'm so excited for the next like 6 months to see how many bands get out there and see what happens when things finally open up.
Well, I hope it will happen in 6 months. I really do.
Yeah. Well, I know
Here
that.
in Ecuador, I don't have high expectations about that. I really don't because I think we are going on another lockdown in the next couple of weeks. I
Yeah, I'm
think.
pretty sure we did too, just recently, didn't we? Hey, Eric. They just put Eastern Canada down in another lockdown. I'm pretty sure. And he's been in quarantine this whole time, or like, not quarantine, but like curfew the whole time. Like that's insane. I want it to open
Yeah,
up. I
it's
want
pretty crazy.
shows.
Yeah, please, please, we need back our shows.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something we need, especially that's the only way musicians make money nowadays too is by their performances. So
Yeah,
we're
and it's really it's about more than money because who are we kidding to? We don't make a lot of money.
yeah,
it's more about the fact that live shows are very inspiring. Like for the first couple of months of quarantine, I was like at home with my guitars, and I kept practicing, remembering the old shows. But then some day came, and I just didn't feel inspired to play anymore. Just was bored. But then we gathered with the guys for our first pandemic rehearsal, and it was like boom! I love to play again.
yeah, no,
I love my guitar again. I want to play it every time I can.
that's my biggest fear is the distance that we're
Yeah,
taking from what we love. But I think it's also given us a year off of having to like really sit down and think like why do I do this? Like I could just go get a
yeah,
different career, I could get a different hobby. The ones that are still here are the ones that are going to last because this would have killed anything. Any band that wasn't
yeah,
going to be able to make it through in the original, like there was a huge flood in the market before COVID, and now, yeah, bands can put up stuff, but like when it comes back to performing, the ones that did the legwork during COVID are the ones who are going to be on top.
yeah. Sure.
Even major artists are going to have a hard time getting back because they owe so much money to their labels, right? So
Yeah,
it's going to
it's
be
crazy.
interesting.
It's
It's definitely, I keep saying it, it's our time to shine. You know what I mean? It's beautiful, but at the same time, it's not because like the world's in a really chaotic place.
Yeah, but chaos has its beauty too.
That's funny. That's literally our EP. Is when within chaos there's beauty, and that's
Uh,
it is it's how I see it's how I see COVID. Because yeah, it is exactly what it is.
yeah.
It's a beautiful.
Well,
It's the
well, well,
phoenix.
yes. Bullseye. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Well, I just wanted to thank you for having me here, having this great conversation.
Oh,
It's
no worries,
really
bro.
awesome. Like, it's very awesome to cross like half the world, the continent, to talk about music and figure out there are so many things we have in common in our everyday musician struggle. It's very, very awesome.
I think we stayed a
And
hell of a point too. You know what I mean? Like,
what?
I think that musicians stayed a hell of a point because the more that
Yeah,
people see how like-minded we are and how much we are
yeah,
similar everywhere, like it
yep.
really. I can go to Africa with my guitar and play with somebody holding a hand drum, and there's
Sure.
no like
Music
it
is a unifying language. Totally.
exactly. And I think that people can take a lot from musicians because like there's a lot of hate going on in the world, and I feel like the fact that you can meet someone like this that you've never met in a different country and just be like, you know what, I feel like I've known you for like 20 years almost. Like it's just a kind of, it's just
Yeah,
how
it's
it is.
so much common ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I
So
totally agree with that.
it definitely is like a statement for world that like we all have a common ground. We just need to find it.
Yeah, exactly.
So let
It
me know
was
when.
awesome to have
Oh, for
you
sure.
around.
Yeah, let me know when you guys are planning to release anything else other than what's coming up in the next week, 2 weeks. Um,
Yep.
because we'll have you back on. I'd like to.
Our next video clip is planned to be released around June. Don't have the exact date yet, but June approximately.
Yeah, that's perfect. So
So
you got a
stay
little bit of
tuned.
time to promote. Yeah, we'll definitely help you
Yep.
promote. And when you guys do, we'll try to get you. We'll book you for a live so that we can get people to engage with you as well.
Great. It would be awesome, like to engage with the other bands as well, like
Yeah, and that's
travel
usually
zone.
right. It's we want to build a network. We want to help as many people as we can because I think that it takes one step, a little step, you know, and then it just grows and floods.
Patience is the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, bro. It was good
So
talking to you. Thanks for
it
coming
was
on, and you
very,
stay safe, and we'll definitely be in contact again.
yeah. Thank you very much.
No
Bye.
worries.
Stay safe.
Bye.